The Taliban are moving closer to forming a government in Afghanistan. But amid volatility, fears of the rise in terrorism are also running high. There are reports of Pakistan-based terror outfits infiltrating India's Jammu and Kashmir. Amid this security threat, the Indian Foreign Affairs Ministry has reiterated that India's primary concern in Afghanistan is to prevent the use of Afghan soil for anti-India activities.
One of the primary immediate concerns is that Afghan soil should not be used for anti-Indian activities or terrorism against India. I think you saw that in our press release.
The comments come after Indian ambassador to Qatar, Deepak Mittal, and Taliban leader Sheikh Mohammed Abbas held a meeting in Doha. The MEA has now clarified that during the meet, India expressed this concern and they received a positive response. On being asked if India would recognize the Taliban government in Afghanistan, the MEA spokesperson said that India is not aware of the kind of government that is likely to be formed in Afghanistan after the Taliban took over the nation. Meanwhile, Indian Foreign Secretary has said, or who was on a visit to Washington, called on US Secretary of State Antony Blinken to the two officials discuss the situation in Afghanistan. And for more on this, we are joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, good to see you. The Taliban has claimed that it will not meddle or interfere in Kashmir. In fact, according to some Taliban leaders, the new regime wants a good relationship with India. They want to forget everything in the past and take the relationship forward. What do you make of this statement?
Well, as of now, I know one statement that has come from the Ministry of External Affairs, and that statement came yesterday at the briefing, the weekly briefing that happened at 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And India's message was clear that Afghan soil should not be used when it comes to terrorism or providing safe haven to anti-India activities. And remember, this is not the first time that India has said this publicly or privately. India has been saying this for a long time. In fact, it's written in the Doha Pact between the US and Taliban that the soil should not be used for any terror activity. And of course, India is talking about its concern, especially when it comes to Pakistan-based international terror groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. These terror groups should not get the space. We know just a few days ago there was this meeting between the Taliban leadership and the Indian envoy to Qatar, Deepak Mittal, and India, of course, strongly raised the issue during that meeting and got assurances as well. We know that public announcement was made by the Ministry of External Affairs, but India will not go by what Taliban says. India will see the action. Just yesterday, we saw on social media how a video was going viral of the Afghan national television showing a parade which saw suicide bombers, and such kind of images perhaps shows a tacit intent by the leadership. In fact, the Taliban leadership in Qatar, giving an interview, said that they will not allow women to be part of the Afghan government, even though there have been talks of an inclusive government. A reaction has also come from the United Nations Security Council President as well. But clearly, the world is waiting and watching, and perhaps by the end of this month, the world will take certain call. As of now, everyone is looking forward to what Taliban does on the ground. There are, of course, fears about not only the women's right being suppressed, the minorities' rights being suppressed, but the rights of the various other minorities of Afghanistan, the Tajiks, the Hazaras, the Uzbeks. These minorities might not get representation in the Afghan government. So that is also a worry.
Siddhant, what role does Afghanistan play, especially when it comes to India, and what are some of the effects that this new government will have in the region?
Well, America can come and America can pack its bag and go back, but India and Afghanistan have been neighbors for millennia. And India, of course, is not going to leave the people of Afghanistan. We know that the current dispensation is a dispensation that in the 90s had supported anti-India elements. In fact, the infamous hijacking, the IC-814 from Kathmandu to Kandahar is something that is still fresh in the mind the policy makers. So when it comes to Afghanistan, anything that happens in Afghanistan has direct implication when it comes to India, and also when it comes to security challenges as well, particularly when it comes to Pakistan-based international terror groups trying to find space there in Afghanistan. So India will be closely watching, but one thing the policymakers are sure is that this time there will not be a direct implication, especially in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, as we saw in the 1990s.
Siddhant Sibal, live from New Delhi. Thank you very much for talking to us.